Good evening, everyone. Welcome to live viewers, and also welcome everyone if you're watching this broadcast on the replay. I am Bridgetti Banda from Cape Town in South Africa, speaking to David Balliers, who is the organizer of the Cape Cycle Tour. In view of the water crisis that we've currently got in Cape Town, a lot of people have raised concerns about the Cape Town Cycle Tour. And we decided to invite David to come along and explain to us what exactly they are doing with regards to the cycle tour and mitigating people's concerns about the water crisis. David, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you. Great to be with you, and very keen to share what we have underway in anticipation of this year's Cape Town Cycle Tour. Obviously, there's a lot of hard work, there's a lot of thinking, there's a lot of strategizing that's gone into the 2018 edition, being very cognizant of the situation we find. I think what I'm going to do is address the two key aspects. One is the use of water, and that's the 35,000 cyclists that will be riding. So we'll deal with that as one issue, and then as a separate, the use of water in the city by visitors that are coming in to participate in the cycle tour. And those are two very different. We're expecting about 35,000 riders to hit the start line, probably a little bit less than that. We'll have a dropout, and we'll have somewhere between 30 and 32,000 that will actually hit the start line, and you just have to go to. Now, what we've done is we spent the better part of last year doing an analysis of our water footprint. So how many people were A, participating, and B, where water was used, be it water points, be it toilets, be it dishwashing, be it washing of beer mugs or cups or cutlery. And we needed to look at every single aspect of the sisters, NCC, and they analyzed a full water footprint. We then set about determining was off the municipal grid. So that's everything from the water that's handed to participants, the Powerade, the Coca-Cola, where that is sourced from, that we no longer will have showers at the finish. We will be able to mix with the chemicals that go in the loos. So we're actually going to chemical loos, not water flashable loos, and those chemical use water or desalinated water. The same goes for the washing of dishes at the corporate hospitality village, the washing of glass via desal water. So the event day itself will be completely water neutral. To that, company doing an audit on us, and we'll be happy to share that with people post-event. We're very keen to ensure that we're not affected. And so that was something we announced at the end of last year, and that was part of the decision we made to whether or not, and bearing in mind that this is a huge economic driver for the city, and apart from that, there's every year. Remember, the Cape Town Cycle Tour is, in its purest form, it is a charity raising event. 100% of the net proceeds are community through the Rotary Club of Claremont and Pedal Power Association. There is no commercial entity behind the cycle tour. It's a charitable trust. Then what we did was, and there were some concerns raised and some numbers thrown out in various forums about how many people were going to descend on Cape Town. Here's some important facts, and I've taken out facts as they exist today. I haven't looked at old reports. I haven't gone and analyzed exactly what the situation at the cycle tour is as we stand. We've analyzed the number of entries, and we worked out what we those participants that will be coming into the Western Cape from outside the drought region. So what we had to do was analyze our visitors to the Cape and how much water would they be using. Because as a Cape Townian, I don't want the event to have a negative effect on us as bringing day zero any earlier than it is. So we have, coming into of the event, currently entered 2,780 participants from the international sector. Coming in from outside of the borders, 12,111. That gives you a figure of 14,891. That is the total number of people coming into the drought from outside the borders of the Western Cape. Now, statistically, the last 5 years, the drop-off between the number of entries to participate in the event, and this is a function of the fact that the event opens its entries in the previous year. So a lot get leave, they haven't trained, and they don't come down. That figure is 24%, and I'm happy to share. And we then take that figure of 14,000, what was it, 14,891, and we take off approximately, which leaves us with a net participation of about 11,400. The Statistics Tourism Bureau will tell us, and from the research done by the University of Cape Town, is that the average stay of a participant at the cycle tour or 5 days. They'll come in, they'll participate, and then they'll leave. So that's, if you multiply out the 11,400 participants, 28,565 days. If you multiply those days by the 50 liters that are allowing people to use, and I'll get to how we educate our participants from out of the province about this, that gives you a total water footprint or water use, and attending restaurants and drinking water outside of the event of about 1,448,000. So we then made the decision that what we would do is we would buy in and truck into the Western Cape an amount of water to offset coming in. So what we did was we committed to bringing in 2 million liters of water. So that's an additional 500,000 getting off into one of the dams that will be identified by the City of Cape Town in the next couple of days, and that water will be then put back into the system. Yes, but these tourists are going to use all this water, so they're right. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're offsetting that by putting the 2 million liters back into the system. I think you then have to look at, so the key thing, we know where they're coming from and we know that we can communicate to them. So we're able to share with them how we expect them to behave when they come to Cape Town. We expect to educate them to listen. In fact, a lot of the upcountry participants are asking how they can help, what kind of water can they bring down. Remember, a lot of these folk are driving down. A plan that we'll roll out with those participants with drop-off zones for water. When you look at the effect of the cycle tour as an event for that period of time, the number of riders that are coming in make up of the locals into the city of 7.75%. So coming into the city of Cape Town over the month of March are about 120 inbound passengers. So it's 120,000 people coming into the province, and these are stats we got from Westgrow, of which ours will be about 9,200. Of the internationals, we make up 4.35%. So we'll have about 2,020 and a total of 48,800. And what concerns me is that if we stop these people from coming in and participating in the water resource that we have in Cape Town, if we stop these people from coming into the city, are we then saying that the hotels get bed and breakfast are going to not replace those bookings with other tourists. And what concerns me there is those would be tourists actually being able to communicate to our inbounds, who we're able to educate and who we're doing the water offset for. So we're hoping that with the exercise we've got under, that the charities that would traditionally benefit at the end of the event to the tune of about 10 million rand. And remember, this is about the event is only about money. The event isn't only about money. The event is about money, but raising money for charity, for the Rotary Club of Claremont. And so there we have it in a nutshell. The two elements. It's the fact that we're offsetting the water used by participants on, and then offsetting the water that will be used by visitors into the city over that period of time, that they are not taking away from water that could be used.
There was a comment from one of the viewers saying that he doesn't feel that, or he feels that only a small portion of the funds raised are going to charity. You able to answer to that?
Okay, that would be completely incorrect, and we're an audited trust. 100% of the net proceeds of the cycle tour are distributed to the Rotary and Pedal Power Association. That is an indisputable fact. There are audited financial statements that are available, either way or through Rotary, but there's absolutely no question. I've been involved for 27 years, and I can categorically state that 100% of the net proceeds of the cycle tour at the end of every year are distributed back to the two beneficiaries. And that charitable has grown 800,000 Rand in 2005 to between 10 and 11 million last year. So that statement is completely unfounded.
Thanks for answering that question. I think, everyone in Cape Town at the moment is feeling a little bit sensitive about the water issue. And that would include yourself, because you live in Cape Town as well. Whatever happens will very much affect you in the same way as it will affect anyone else. So I'm sure that yourself and everyone else involved in the organization would have taken that into account, because you all live in Cape Town.
I think is that in making the decision, if we were going to question stopping the event, we would be that we would negatively impact on the city of Cape Town. Now, what needs to be understood is that this event is the success it is because of the people of Cape Town. The vast majority of people riding, over 20,000 of them, are locals, are going to be people from the city of Cape Town and surrounds. And those are the people that are on the event, and they're not putting any additional load on the system at all, because when they finish the race, they're going to go home and they're going to use the same water that we would use. The water that they use on race day, we've bought in to manage, and that's not coming off the system. So of the 35,000 in Cape Town, and if we cancel the event, they're still going to go out and ride on the day, because that's their right. So we needed to make sure in weighing it was, are we going to negatively impact on the city? And if we are, how do we ensure that we don't? And that was the reason which would traditionally go to charity, to bring that water in from outside the drought-stricken area and make sure that it was then introduced back into the system. It's around, how am I going to ensure that the 2 million litres we put in is only used by our participants? And they're going to draw water off the municipal system. So what we're making sure we're doing is that we're putting it back in on the top, and it's as it were. I'd like to believe that in actual fact we've erred on the side of caution, and we're overcompensating by putting in then will be drawn off. And again, we are going to be audited on this. We have an environmental company that will be audited ensure that we live up to our commitment, and 2, auditing our entire water footprint for the week of events that take place in Cape Town. And I'd like to believe that all the other, I mean, we've got international jazz festivals taking place over the same period, and I'd like to believe that they're in the same position as us, and that they're doing the negatively impacting. What I'd like to say is that I would like to believe that when the event shuts off at the end of week, and we haven't impacted from a water perspective, that what we have done is impacted economically on the city, so that jobs, bed and breakfast and guest houses continue to see an influx of people coming to the city. And Westgrow have said it's not open for business as usual because there is a drought situation and we're having to manage that. But the fact of the matter is, and people coming into the country on a daily basis, and we just need to make sure that we're educating those folk coming in and getting them to limit them to the.
Fantastic. David, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us and to explain how the cycle tour is operating, and to explain to us what you are doing about the water footprint of the cyclists that are coming for to take part in the tour. Not only those who are incoming, but also those local cyclists who will be taking part. So thank you very much for your time. Appreciate that you've given us a bit of time to explain how it will work, and thank you so much.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bridgetti. I lost a lot of that. For sharing the information as well.
I just wanted to say thank you very much, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us and explaining how it works.
It's an absolute pleasure, and I think it's vitally important that the citizens understand the event, and all of us that work at the event are from Cape Town. We have no desire to risk the situation that we are acting any way that is negligent. You will find me on a regular basis standing in the queue for water at the Newland Spring. I am all too aware, so we will make every effort to even overcompensate for what's happening to ensure that we don't negatively impact on day zero. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, David. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks a lot.